Welcome to Bus Driver Life. My name is Kiwan. I am a bus driver. I used to drive school buses. I'm currently a transit bus driver in the Sacramento, California area. In this episode, we are going to do a reaction video. We're going to take a look at a passenger who refused to give up her seat for a wheelchair passenger that needed to board the bus. Something to keep in mind while watching the video is, remember, the section in the front of the bus is designated for elderly and persons with disabilities. So senior citizens and persons with disabilities. Okay, so let's watch the video and we're gonna break this whole situation down and take a look at what really happened. We're gonna figure out, is this woman wrong for not giving up her seat for a wheelchair? Is she eligible to stay in this section?
Why won't you get your ass out the chair? You know you wrong.
This lady in the background, she does not need to be yelling at that lady, but a woman refused to give up her bus seat for a man in a wheelchair. Now the bus isn't going to go. So all those passengers are mad at her. Despite sitting in the section reserved for disabled passengers, and despite other seats being available, let's see.
I know you don't care. That's why they need to pop your ass in your head. You out of line.
They're yelling at this lady. Okay. Other passengers even offered her their seats. Okay. Yeah, we have a wheelchair outside. You can see the drivers are changing shifts, but she wasn't having it.
There's a seat open right here. Yeah, see? Are you blind? Are you blind?
They're asking the lady if she's blind. And she looks like an older lady. So the wheelchair-bound man was forced to wait for the next bus. Much to the horror of the other bus riders. It's unclear why this passenger wouldn't move, but it's clear nobody was happy about it. Most U.S. transit buses, public transit buses, can fit up to 2 wheelchairs. There may be some different variations in other places, but in general, about 2 chairs, one on each side in the front. So there was already a wheelchair passenger on the bus, and they needed to bring another wheelchair passenger on the bus. As a matter of fact, there appeared to be another wheelchair passenger outside of the bus, and that does happen sometimes to us bus operators. We'll be doing a bus route, and every other stop you'll have a wheelchair passenger. We can only fit 2, and sometimes somebody will have to wait for the next bus, unfortunately, because it is first come, first serve. However, most cities they do offer a paratransit system where you can call and reserve a ride. So the only thing standing between this wheelchair passenger and them getting a spot on the bus was this lady who was refusing to get up. Passengers are yelling at her. Another thing I saw was that the bus driver that was like at the moment in charge of the bus was being relieved by another driver. So that other driver got on the bus and took on all of that chaos and tension and drama, and yeah, not cool. Not a good way to start your shift. Now, if you're ending your shift, then you're probably happy that you're getting out of that situation.
You ain't lying.
So let's take a look at a few things. First of all, I want to take a look at the lady that they were yelling at and screaming at because she refused to give up her seat for the wheelchair passenger. So this is a picture of the lady. If I were to give a description of this lady, I would say she's a senior citizen. She looks like a senior, okay? She does not look like a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old or even 50. She looks like a senior citizen. Maybe she's not, but potentially she is. She could possibly be a senior citizen. So let's take a look at something else. In this video, they made it very clear that they said, despite, this was just a screen grab from the video, despite sitting in the section reserved for disabled passengers. So the video was trying to make it very clear that she was sitting in a section that was reserved for, in bold red letters, disabled passengers. So let's see if that's true or not. Is this section really only for disabled passengers? Let's take a look at that. Here goes another screen grab from the video, and you can clearly see that it says this section is reserved for seniors and persons with disabilities.
No.
So let's go back to that other screen grab really quick. It says right here that she's sitting in a section reserved for disabled passengers in bold letters. However, it clearly states that it's reserved for seniors and persons with disabilities. Couple of notes about disabilities. A disability does not mean that the person is in a wheelchair. A disability can be a plethora of different mobility devices that this person may be using, like a walker, a cane, anything, a scooter. Also, a person with a disability may not even have have a mobility device. Also, some people with disabilities, you may not even realize that they have one. It may not be immediately visible, and it may not even be visible at all. However, any person with a disability is entitled to sit in that section, as well as any person that is classified as a senior. So that lady could potentially be a senior. She looks like a senior. Here's another thing that you may not realize, or the people on the bus obviously didn't realize. She could also be a person with a disability. She may not be in a wheelchair. She may not have a walker. It may not be completely visible, but she could potentially have a disability. So for everyone on the bus to be yelling and screaming at this lady and using profanity and insulting her, they are absolutely wrong, because they are not sure if she is a senior or a person with a disability. Now, could she have moved to another seat? Yes, she could have. As a matter of fact, I've had a lot of situations where I will have a senior or elderly passenger sitting in the front where they are perfectly entitled to sit at, and they will move to another seat to allow a wheelchair to get on. I'll ask them nicely, hey, do you mind moving so that I can get a wheelchair on here? That way I can get everybody, I can get all of you all to where you need to get to. And most of the times they do cooperate. I've even had some people like with walkers and canes volunteer to move a little further back so that the wheelchair passenger can get on. However, do they have to do that? No, they are perfectly fine sitting in the section designated for seniors and persons with disability.
You ain't lying.
Now, is the front area reserved for people with mobility devices? Generally, yes, because here's the thing, when it comes to wheelchairs, if you can only fit two, there's only 2 spots on the bus that a person in a wheelchair can go. They can't go anywhere else on the bus. Other people have a little bit more freedom, even if they're a senior or even if they have a different type of mobility device like a walker or a cane, they can still kind of move around the bus to other areas. And it is amazing when people give up their seat and accommodate them so that everybody can get to where they have to go. But the point that I want to make here is, if that lady is indeed a senior, which to me, she does appear to be a senior, then she did not have to get up in the first place, and she did not deserve for those passengers to be yelling at her, and she didn't deserve to be insulted by people. That was not right.
You ain't lying.
Now understand that the people that were fussing and yelling at her, their heart was probably in the right place. In some sort of toxic way. They were probably thinking like, hey, this wheelchair needs to get on. How dare you not move out of the way? So they got upset and they acted out of emotions. But we have to look at the facts over the emotions and realize that that section is for seniors and people with disabilities, not just wheelchairs. The American Disabilities Act is not there to put certain people with certain disabilities on a pedestal. It is for everyone that falls under that umbrella to receive equal and fair treatment and service. Service needs to be available to them just like it's available to everyone else. However, when it comes to chairs, there's only a limited amount of chairs that one bus can transport. Also, the same section where the chairs go, it is also set aside for seniors and people with all disabilities. Now let's talk about the bus driver really quick. I understand the bus driver was ready to get off work. And also, a lot of times, if you let the ramp out and have the chair roll onto the bus, generally if a person is sitting in the section where a wheelchair would go, they'll just get up and like, oh yeah, the wheelchair is getting on, I'll get up and move. Here's the thing though, if you have multiple chairs waiting, what I typically do as a bus operator, before I let the wheelchair ramp out and allow wheelchair passengers on the bus, I'm gonna check to make sure the section is clear for them. So if there's someone seated where they need to go, I'm gonna make sure that people are willing to move so that I can accommodate the wheelchairs before I let the ramp out. So if I pull up and I already have a chair on and then the other side is occupied with someone, I'll ask, do you mind moving to a different seat so that I can get the wheelchair passenger onto the bus? If they say no, I will then walk outside and have a short conversation with the passengers in the wheelchair, and I'll let them know that unfortunately we do not have space and they will have to wait for the next bus. So by not first clearing and checking and making sure that there was room for the chair, the driver just let the wheelchair ramp out. The wheelchair passenger was getting onto the bus, but the lady was like, I'm not moving. And she was completely in her right to not move if she was a senior or a person with a disability, even if we could not see the disability. So that's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you're a bus driver, bus operator, or you are a passenger, or just someone that checked out the reaction video and you just have your own opinion. Let me know. But one thing we cannot argue is the facts. That section is for seniors and people with disabilities. It is not just for people with wheelchairs. So thank you all for watching my video. Check out the Patreon if you'd like to support the channel some more. Check out the Teespring link in the description if you're interested in some Bus Driver Life merch. And thank you so much for watching Bus Driver Life.